Yo, is my breath funky? Be honest. Don't lie to me. No, like on God. Like, can you smell my breath a little bit? Keep it 100% Chewy. I'm not going to be mad. You swear to God? You promise?
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. I'm Bob here on a Lights Logic on a green screen on a recliner getting tattooed by my friend Chewy, who's really nice enough to do this all for free. Definitely not. He's getting paid. First tattoo is Happy Wife, Happy Life on my left hand here, which looks really bad. I got it done in Portland. It was the first tattoo ever. And I remember I'm sitting on this chair, like in my mind, like, let's fucking do it. And then they do it. And I was like, oh, that's not that deep. I was like, I mean, shit hurts, but it's not that deep. Ultra 85 I got in Japan. It's basically the follow-up to The Incredible True Story. It's like my detox. It's like Logic's like Dr. Dre detox. Like, it's never coming out. It's not anything, whatever. The cool thing is that when I got that done in Japan, the artist who was doing it couldn't speak English. I remember telling the guy, he's like looking at my tattoos. He's like, whoa. And so the translator is like, he's blown away. He asked who did the tattoos. And I was like, this dude named Chewy. And he stopped tatting me and was like, Chewy? And he goes on his phone and pulls up Chewy's Instagram and goes, this guy tattooed you? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, Tomarigato gozaimashita. He's like, thank you very much for letting me tattoo the same guy that Chewy tattooed. It was really cool. And then later on, I got the 1111 on my wrist. 1111 is just, I don't know, who doesn't love that? It's just like a cool number. It's a thing between me and my wife. Every time it's 1111, we're like, 1111. Love you. So I got that. I also got Frank Sinatra's signature, which is cool. Sinatra's signature flames. I got this off Wikipedia. So I just took his thing because it had his signature like in there, and I was like, wouldn't that be cool? So I got that. Technically, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chess pieces. Would you say that that's one tattoo, or are those 5 tattoos? They were in the same session.
Same day?
Yeah. It's one? Fuck. Leave your thoughts in the chat below. No, I'm just kidding. No, low key, in the comment section, tell me what y'all think. Like, do y'all think that a big piece of 5 different chess pieces is 5 pieces like of art, or is it one? Because we all did it as one. I learned how to play chess at about 7 years old in a correctional facility called PRC, the pre-release center. So it's like you're still in the system, but you're not out yet. And yeah, I learned how to play with the cats who were getting out of jail there. And then 2018, I just got back into it again like a madman. Now I play every day. I'll play like minimum like 5 games. But whether they're 3 minutes or 1 minute or 10-minute games or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I've played 50, 100 games in a day. Easy. I love it. I'm sick. I'm a sick fuck. I got this bumblebee that my wife drew, but she forgot to do wings, so Chewy just did the wings on the spot. It's the bee, like, because of Bobby, Brittany, and little Bobby. The Goonies tattoo, classic. I'm actually glad we like shaded the outside, because I was thinking about doing it in black, but I like that you can see my skin and then there's an outline. Metal Gear Solid Snake, that was a dude, how long was that? That was the longest piece we've done. 6-7 hours. It was wild. He really took his time. He cares. Chewy cares, man, which is dope. So I love that game, and I remember the VR missions when I was a little boy and popping in that CD, and it took 35,000 years to fucking load. Something that these little shits with digital downloads is never gonna understand. Motherfuckers out here, why I gotta be old? I don't feel like I even look that old. Now I'm old as fuck, and I'm an old motherfucker, and you know, all these kids, they don't know shit, and they grew up with fucking God in their pockets. Everybody got an iPhone, don't even got to retain shit. You know, motherfuckers can't even tell me their address. To be fair, I don't even know mine. What am I talking about? Okay, so listen, supermarket. I got supermarket on the side here. It's from the font, which is all really just Tarantino inspired, from my book, Supermarket. My first novel, you know, I wrote a book of fiction, New York Times best-selling author, flex, what? I came from the hood, okay, from nothing. So to have a New York Times best-selling, yes, to walk into the literary world and walk out a gangster, it was amazing. This guitar here, it's one of my favorite guitars. It's actually an organ. Literally, I just took a picture and then gave it to him, and then he did his thing, which is really cool. Yeah, that guitar is just a time in my life. So I was in Malibu for like 3 months, and I went to Norm's Rare Guitars and bought like $250,000 in guitars in probably 6 weeks. And I paired those guitars with $300,000 in Nobu whiskey in that exact same time and drank the whole shit with my friends. Sometimes you gotta just YOLO it a little bit. You know what I mean? I have the Luminary tattoo from Dragon Quest XI's. Fucking nerd, Bob, dude. Oh my god, don't even get me started on Dragon Quest XI XS. It is incredible. First of all, you play as the Luminary, and the Luminary is like, he's like Neo, but he's like Japanese anime Neo, where he's like coming back and he's like reincarnated twins, but one of the twins is like a little girl because somebody cast a spell against the bitch. And in my mind, I couldn't because she was so young that she can't get into a bar, which is actually even a part of the story. Not that the bitch is an alcoholic, because she's not, but that she can't get into the bar so that you can continue into the story. Anyway, it's a great game. It's one of my favorite games I've ever played of all time. And if I'm going to be completely honest, I beat like 99% of it. I literally got all the way to the end, and then there's this other thing, and then I beat that shit, and then there's another thing, and then I got there, and then I was like, I'm fucking over this. It's been 2.5 years. I'm done. Bart Simpson, because Bart Simpson rules. Bart Simpson, classic. I used to watch The Simpsons at 6 and 6:30 on Fox 5 in Maryland, and he's like, look at me, man, I fucking made it. That's how I feel. I'm like, I made it. Look at my hands. His hands are up. He's just rocking. He's kind of smug on his face, but he's still appreciative. That's me. I mean, look at that. Right now as I'm talking, and I'm actually in the chair because y'all can hear the gun, but what you're seeing as I'm talking is you're actually seeing B-roll of my tattoo. Isn't that weird? I kind of broke the fourth wall on y'all. Y'all didn't really think about that. Now you're like, oh, and now you're seeing me as I'm saying it, and that's Bart Simpson, y'all. Hey everyone, this is my buddy Mac, Mr. DeMarco, and I was calling you really quick because I just realized, like, what the fuck does salad days even mean?
It's from the Shakespearean play Antony and Cleopatra.
Antony and Cleopatra.
Salad days is kind of like it's the green, the fresh days of your youth, unfettered by the demons of the world, by the filth that life brings.
Okay,
You know?
Amazing. Love Mac DeMarco. That's like my guy. How cool is that? I can just call him Mac DeMarco and he just answers. It's so tight. I'm not even gonna lie, like, I'm not even gonna try to play it cool. He's my favorite musician of all time. Now I know that's saying a lot, but the only reason he's my favorite musician of all time is because I've listened to Mac DeMarco more than any other artist that I love and revere. So what does that say? It says he's my favorite. Japanese kanji that says lost in translation. Classic. Okay, Sofia Coppola. And the thing that I love about her, I feel like she is a director of a generation like myself. She really paved her own way. She wasn't in her father's shadow by any means. I mean, it didn't fucking hurt that your dad is one of the greatest directors of all time. When I was in Japan, I actually did a song called Lost in Translation. I got a little dinosaur for my son Bobby. I got a Taylor gang for Wiz. Wiz Khalifa is one of my biggest inspirations. When I was watching him and I was in Mary Jo's attic or in Lenny's basement, he made it feel real. He made me feel like I was watching a guy out of Pittsburgh who went to Taylor Alderdice High School, and him and his friends just had a blast and made it because they were them. And he made me feel like I could make it by being me. And 10 years later, we would co-headline a tour together that wouldn't have existed without him. That's what that shit means to me. And then to meet the man. So, you know, the first time we met was when the tour started. All these years, we got songs together. Me and Wiz got records, dog, together. And after all these years, we finally met on a tour together. And he was so fucking nice, so sweet. I say he's very, like, pure. And what I mean by that is, like, pure of heart. Like, he's just so nice, super kind, funny, doesn't give a fuck. He's just himself. Black Elvis, he calls himself. Blelvis. Blel. Quasimodo from Madlib there. You know, Madlib's music is amazing. And Egon introducing me to Madlib and me being able to really just meet Otis, the man behind the myth, the man behind the image that is Quasimodo, him along with Dilla, R.I.P., shaped me. That's why I got Quasi on this arm and I got Dilla on the other arm. We Just Tight is actually in Kyle Postman's font, my producer and engineer. And I don't know, we always say that. We just make the joke, like, because what it's really from is This Is the End, where it's like, we just tight, we just tight. He's like, your references are out of control. Like, this is Jonah Hill. It's hilarious.
We just tight, we just tight.
I have Grace on me as well, so that's 51. And Grace is my mother-in-law's middle name, and I got that because my wife, her middle name is Noelle with 2 L's. Very beautiful. And it's the first thing I noticed when we met. And I was like, wow, what a beautiful tattoo. What is it? And she's like, yeah, it's actually in my grandmother's handwriting. And da-da-da. And that was the first conversation we ever had. Fast forward, however many years later, we're married, we got kids and shit. Noelle is her grandmother's middle name. So I thought it would be sweet if I got Grace, her mother's middle name, on me. On my right arm, I've got the Everybody tattoo. That was like one of my earlier ones. That might have been the second tattoo I got. I mean, Everybody, man, that album changed my life, and I love it. Will always love it. I think somebody sent it to me, and it was like, how has your perception of everybody changed all these years later? And just so many people were like, I was just on the hate train. I was, it was the thing to like, Logic's a meme, da-da-da, but they're like, yo, all these years later, like, that shit holds up. And the only real hate I see with that album, for real, like, that is, like, somewhat constructive, is where people were like, he had a concept, but he didn't really talk about everybody. And it's like, yeah, I know, but you can't talk about everybody. Like, that's impossible. So I talked about the majorities of the minorities, if that makes any sense. And then spent my time while promoting it, and even now, talking about everybody and different walks of life and XYZ. That album changed my life, man, and I wasn't even trying to do that. And then boom, here's a song about mental health and suicide prevention. And nobody was like, oh, we about to in the club, this is about to pop. Nobody thought that shit, especially not me. And then when it did its thing, I was like, yo, let's get this fucking money, bro. Now's the time to grind. I got Super Meat Boy tattoo. Love that one. Oh man, Super Meat Boy, one of my favorite games of all time. I've fucking played that game a million times, and the craziest part is, still haven't beat it. Got all the way to the last level, and it wasn't until a year ago that I was like, I'm gonna fucking finally do this. Still didn't beat it, but got to literally the last thing. It's like you beat the game, and then it's like some prologue shit you gotta do, and I was like, oh, fuck this shit. I got Jay Dilla at the MPC, Peanut Style. Jay Dilla, man, I mean, the thing I think I love about music is you can't perfect it. You can master it, but you can't perfect it. And I think chasing perfection, but knowing that it's inevitable, is like the illest shit ever. And so me discover, I mean, obviously I know Dilla. I've known Dilla forever, but I never really listened to Dilla, like really just engulfed my everything. Sure, I know, yeah, he did this shit with Common, he did this, he did that. But like going through everything there was to know, for the most, and I'm still learning. That was special. It made me want to be a producer. Like I've always been a producer, but it made me want to be Logic, the producer, who's like making beats for other people, like Juicy J and shit. I got a big peanut to represent, not my alias, Peanuts, the beat maker. That's not me. I don't know, man. I did this beat tape called Peanuts, and I thought it'd be cool to put a peanut on me. And then there's some guy started his own, I guess, like after that, I don't know if it's almost like copycat serial murderer. So like they saw that I did a album called Peanuts, and then they took the idea, I guess, and then they were releasing beats under Peanuts. But if you look them up on Spotify and iTunes and all that shit, I'm gonna be honest, his beats are probably the greatest hip hop beats I've ever heard of, ever. Like they're the best hip hop beats over everybody, over Dre, Alchemist, Dilla, and Madlib. They are the greatest hip hop beats ever made, if I'm being completely honest with you. Vinyl Days, Keely did that one, killed it. Vinyl Days, man, y'all want to know the real story behind Vinyl Days? College Park was done, but College Park was 30 tracks and it was 148 minutes. I didn't give a fuck. I was just gonna put it out. I believed in it. We still had the animations, all that, but it's not what it is now. I've been working on this documentary about my life called No Pressure, that I was gonna have Ben Selko direct this documentary on my life, compiled of footage y'all ain't never seen before. And Def Jam obviously knows that Vinyl Days was gonna be my last album. And if I'm being honest, the reason it was my last album is because they didn't have their shit together, and like the president, it was like a whole thing, and then this other dude had a stroke, which was really unfortunate, all this other shit. And I would have re-upped with Def Jam, but they just like let it slip through the cracks. I don't know how you let Logic slip through your roster. I'm gonna be honest. We were like, hey, are we gonna re-up or not? And they was like, nah. So then I went to BMG for distribution, and they gave me the bag to do anything I want. So I'm like, cool, I'm gonna go over there and that's what I'm gonna do. So somebody in the new regime was like upset at this, even though they dropped the ball. My documentary had been greenlit for $3 million through Universal, and we were going to start like top of 2021 filming. Somebody from Def Jam calls head of film or whoever over at Universal and goes, Logic is leaving Def Jam. Don't give him the money. Don't put this out. And I was livid, to say the least. Like I couldn't fucking believe it. Like I was like, all these years with y'all and you're gonna do that to me? And on top of it, it's like you're doing this to me and it's only gonna benefit us anyway, because it's a documentary about my career, and my whole career has been made on your fucking label, you morons. So they blackball me like that. And now this shit's gonna get made, so I'm not worried about it. Like respectfully, it's like, bro, I'm Logic. I'm gonna make a documentary. It's all good. So you know what I did? I was like, fuck y'all. Y'all ain't getting College Park. I made Vinyl Days in 10 days. And that's why I made it so fast, because I was like, I'm getting out of this deal. Fuck y'all. But what started as a Larry David Spite album, Mocha Joe's, turned into Latte Larry's, which was one of the best things that I ever did, because even though I was like trying to get it over with, it actually turned into a fucking fire moment in my life and in my career. And if I'm being completely honest, even though it didn't sell well, I think it changed the perspective even more.
I think Vinyl Days is another very good, very solid project from Logic. I would say about on par with No Pressure.
These last 2 years, the perspective of Logic, like motherfuckers will still hate, but they'll hate anybody. But this perspective of like what it went from of hating on Logic on the internet to now, there's so much respect on my name, it's not even funny. And I think a big reason why is because of Vinyl Days, and because I was like, oh, okay, fuck the pop shit. Fuck to this, fuck to that. I'm gonna make the most boom bap, not selling record I could possibly make. And by doing that, motherfuckers love me even more, which is hilarious. Yeah, so they can eat my whole ass. Ready Player One. And the funny thing is I never realized that the Ready Player One tattoo I have is actually a game. It's a maze. So you gotta go all the way through it and you can get to the end, which is cool. I got the Ableton logo. Have you seen that one on me? Yeah, that's a little deep. Ableton logo. So the funny thing is when I first signed Def Jam, I remember No ID was like, you're a producer. I was like, no, I'm not. He's like, yeah, you are. I'm like, how am I a producer? I don't know how to play any instruments. He was like, you don't need to play a single instrument to be a producer. A producer is somebody who puts shit together, makes it work. You know what I mean? Look at Quincy Jones, like taking, hey, you play strings, right? Play strings on this. Hey, you play horns, right? Play horns on this. Hey, your drums are really good. Put your drums on this. Hey, you take your singing, put it on this. Now do it this way and in this style. Okay, great. Now I'm going to take that and turn it. And that's what I was doing before I ever knew a program or how to pick anything up. I remember him telling me like, you're a producer. So I was like, all right, let me pick up this program so that I could learn how to maybe like chop up samples and ideas and then give them to him. And I did that. And then I stopped giving them to him. And then I kept them for myself. And then over the years, here I am, Logic the producer. I got Quentin Tarantino's signature. I was a little nervous when that whole Me Too thing happened, but then he made it out scot-free. So I was like, oh, he's good. He just be sucking on toes. That's it. Ain't nothing wrong with that, you know? Whatever your flavor is, you know what I'm saying? I love Tarantino, man. Tarantino, I discovered hip-hop through him, like truly, you know, discovering Wu-Tang Clan, watching Kill Bill, listening to the score, seeing that it was all done by the RZA, and being like, yo, this shit changed my life. And that man's pen game strong, and I still ain't met him yet. That's one person who's not in my Rolodex, and I don't know how. And then obviously I have What For by Toro y Moi. We went through that, but that's a special one. I have a tattoo that says Look Around, and Lenny's handwriting, because I want to be present. I wouldn't be the first biracial president, though, I'll tell you that. I have a Bobby Boy, and I did Bobby Boy in color. Chewy did it, and he did such a fantastic job. You need me to move even more? Doing that piece let me know I don't like color. But that doesn't mean I don't like the piece. I love the piece. I was like, yeah, I like the way just black ink looks and ages over time, and keep it simple like that. Grandmaster is a tattoo I have that's actually in my own handwriting. I was gonna do like a beat tape or like an album or something, and I still may, but it was also just a time, and I'm a Grandmaster MC, you know what I mean, at what I do. So I have a little Spike Spiegel that my buddy Juan drew. And then I also have, of course, Kaneda on his bike, classic from Akira. Got that one done in Six's kitchen. There was the fires, and yeah, I was scared. I thought we were gonna lose our crib, man, which is wild. But we got really lucky. Like the fire was right at like on my neighborhood. It was right there, and they just somehow suppressed it from going. So we went to stay at Six's, got tatted there. That was fun. Wu-Tang. So fun story about this is I wanted to get the Wu-Tang symbol because I was like, why not? And I got it over my wrist bone. And then Chewy was like, yo, you want to tat me? You want to give me a tattoo? And I was like, no. And I fucked his shit up. Looked like Michael J. Fox did it. And it's cool. I can say that because I got dystonia. My head shakes. I got to get these Botox shots in my neck to keep it from shaking. It's like saying nigga. Like, you can't say it if you're not. I mean, I feel like just as long as you're not white, you can say nigga. You know, that's how I feel. So me being black, but looking how I look, which might be quite confusing for a lot of people, I can give a fuck. They can suck my dick, nigga. I'll say what I want. My wife, she tattooed a smiley face on me herself, which is really cool. I got my College Park tattoo. I'm getting the Slum Village logo because I love Slum Village. Got my PlayStation tattoo. I got the Deathly Hallows tattoo that Keely did. She snapped. That one's really good, actually. Let me see real quick. I got Son Goku, which is really fire. And I also got Fry from Futurama. Oh, I got a face tat. You see this? It's in my wife's handwriting. It says LB for Little Bobby. Oh, you know what I'm going to get on the other side? Same exact shit, but it's going to be LD for Leon David, little Leo. That's the little boy in her belly. This is Grand Cru. It's my favorite type of wine. I got a king back here. And then over here, I have my son's birthday. And I think that's it. That's a lot. Dude, my fucking arm. Give me a second. Oh, shit. One thing I will say about tattoos is it's worth the pain easily. Like, when you think about the fact that it lasts till you're dead and in the ground and decomposed, worth it. Maybe not on your eyelids. Doesn't Lil Wayne have his eyelids tatted? That's crazy. I think it says fear of God. How about people who be tattooing their eyeballs and shit? Isn't that hella... I seen somebody tattoo their eyeballs and then they went blind. Yeah, no shit, you fucking moron. I bet you didn't see that coming.